Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming on a weekday here. And before I start, I want to introduce Dr. John Mcdougall, who's come all the way from California. And he has been addressing audiences like you since a couple of days now. And it's just been amazing. I just want to tell you that when I asked him what he'd like to do, he said work. And he's given all his time, and I'm so grateful to you for that, really. I know it's been quite a hectic schedule that we've given him. But just to give you a little bit of an introduction to him, he's been practicing this method that he'll be speaking to you about for the last 40 years. And one of the ways that so many people in Bombay knew about it was because his patients in America were telling their friends and relatives in India, because they have done so incredibly well. So he has clinics, he has weekend programs, he has long retreats, all kinds of things, and his only interest is to help patients get well. So Dr. John Mcdougall, I'm so grateful that you're with us, and I will let you start right away.
Okay.
Because they're so anxious to hear you.
I think I hit this. We have a lot of here. Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you for coming out tonight. And I am a physician. Can you hear me okay? Okay, good. I am a physician. I'm an internist. I'm just kind of a general doctor. And I take care of patients just like you folks. I've taken care of probably 10,000 people. All right, somebody asked me about a month ago if I'd like to go to India. I said, why not? And so I've come to India. I have a tour scheduled. I look at India as an opportunity for the world. So anyway, somebody asked me if I'd like to come to India, and I've been working for 40 years to try and make world changes in the United States, and I have to say they've been impressive but slow. And I thought, well, maybe India is a more likely possibility, a more likely a place to ignite a fire to change the world. And as a result, I got some kind invitations from people to come over here and to share what I know, in hopes that you'll help me share a message that we really need to understand, not just in India, but in China and the United States and so on. It's a very simple message. And I'm going to try and convey a little bit of that to you over the next few minutes. As I say, I'm a medical doctor, and I take care of people, and I take care of all kinds of problems. Back when I was a young doctor, I used to catch babies. And occasionally I'd have to do surgery. And I've administered all kinds of pills and potions to people. Unfortunately or fortunately, in this day and age, people are not suffering from cholera, other sanitation problems. What do you think? Good? What they're suffering from these days is something that I call food poisoning. And that's what I'd like to just take a few minutes to share with you about, and Dr. Shaw is going to go on and tell you further about it. The reason people are sick these days, not 30 years ago, but these days in India, in China, not 30 years ago, but these days, in the United States for, say, the last, well, I'm almost 70, for the last 70 years, the reason people are sick in our modern countries, in Russia, in South America, in Mexico City, the reason they're sick is because of food poisoning. And it's a food poisoning that I think you'll recognize once I explain it to you, and there's an important solution to it, which I'm going to tell you about. Some of you, I can recognize you, you're my age, you're old enough to remember when the people of India were much trimmer. didn't have the rampant epidemic of diabetes that you have now. They say 12% of the population of China has diabetes, and when I arrived here, they told me India beats that record. I don't think it's anything to be proud of, but I know why your population is sick. In the United States, about 10% of the people have diabetes. The reason people are sick is because of food poisoning. And the food poisoning comes from the rich Western diet. The United States of America has given you many things, and you've given many things back. But one of the things that they gave you is food poisoning. The enthusiasm to eat like Americans. The opportunity to have meat every day, more dairy, more butter, more rich food, and it shows. Ladies and gentlemen, I've only been here for about 40 hours, and the people in India are sick, just like Americans, just like those in China, and so on. And it's not a mystery as to why people are sick, and it's not a mystery as to how to get your health back. And I'm going to share with you that over the next few minutes, and I'm going to let Dr. Shaw take over and tell you the rest of the story. I've written 12 national best-selling books in the United States. I used to make my living selling books, in addition to being a doctor. And I was asked by my agent to write another book, and I told her I wouldn't do it, even though they offered me a lot of money. But what I said is, I said, because people don't read, I said, I will write you or show you or put together a color picture book. So last month when I was in Costa Rica with a group of people, we take people traveling twice a year with our program. I put this color picture book together, and it's very simple, and you'll understand why people are sick and how to get well through my color picture book. I showed this to my 3 grandsons. They're 5, 7, and 10, and they understand what to do, why people are sick. And I put it in an international symbol, which is the traffic light. You know what green means. You know what red means, and you probably know what caution means. So I put this color picture book in terms of something we all recognize worldwide, which is the traffic light. The first thing I have to explain to you, if you take me serious, if you really want to get your health back, if you want to save your kids, and maybe save the country or the world, is you have to do this 100%. Or at least you have to think of it in terms of 100%. It's just like if we were dealing with alcoholism. You don't get an alcoholic to sober up by switching to beer and wine, do you? And a cocaine addict, you don't give them cocaine twice a week. And a cigarette smoker, you don't cut down, do you? In other words, you just stop that behavior. Some of you have been there, and you get well when you are able to control your behaviors. What I'm trying to tell you is you won't solve food poisoning by just cutting down or eating a little bit. It's just a behavior thing. People can't do a little bit. Do you follow me? Okay, so even though I may seem radical, not sensible, irrational, whatever, I'm trying to tell you a method that you can fix the problem with, which is by just stopping that behavior, which is food poisoning. So the first thing I want to tell you is if you decide you're tired of being fat, you're tired of your kids being constipated, you're tired of rheumatoid arthritis, you must stop this behavior, this food poisoning, because you can't cut down. I know you can't. The program that I teach is a program based on starch, which I'm going to tell you about, and it avoids food poisons, which are animal products and oils. I know that sounds radical. I've been doing this for 40 years. I have truth on my side and huge success because all my patients do well. Unfortunately, my opposition has all the money. The drug industry. I just spoke at 2 hospitals here. I'm going to speak at a hospital tomorrow that has gold domes. They got all the money. The meat industry, the dairy industry, the vitamin pill industries, they got all the money. Do you understand what I'm saying? The only thing I have on my side is truth and success. And we do quite well with people when they follow the program I teach, which is starch-based with fruits and vegetables. People get well. tremendously well. But you have to do it. So what I'm talking about India, could I? Okay. So you eat starch, some fruits, and some vegetables. This is not your food. Where's that cat? That's his food. It's not your food. That's why you're sick. The problems with health in people in India is the same in China. It's the same that's been going on for thousands of years. When people become wealthy, rich, which is good. It's nice to have cars and sanitation, nice homes, and send your kids to good schools. That's all good, isn't it? But if you eat the rich man's diet, the diet of kings and queens, what do you think happens? It's been taught throughout all of your history, through all of your religions. When you eat the diet of kings and queens, you get fat and sick. That's what's happened in mass in India. Well, not quite 2 billion people, but to a good segment of your population. That's what's happened in China. That's what's happened in Mexico City. Because of this great wealth that we have as a consequence of the Industrial Revolution, which was in its midst 150 years ago, and fossil fuels, which has allowed us to all live like kings and queens, we are now suffer the diseases of kings and queens. But you don't have to do that. You can fix these problems. And you can have strength too. You know, people of strength, warriors, gladiators, for example. They were known, the gladiators, whoops, what happened to this? I missed that. Oh, we'll get to that in a minute. I want to show you what food poisoning is from eating rich food. This is food poisoning. Have you seen this? You've never seen this in India? No, you haven't. Oh, come on. You could joke with me a little bit. Have you seen anybody suffering from food poisoning? Okay. Almost everybody these days, yeah. This is food poisoning. Can you see this? Am I standing in your way? Okay, this is food poisoning. This is food poisoning. Your hospitals are making tons of money off of food poisoning, doing bypass surgery, catheterizations, and angioplasty. This is from food poisoning. This is food poisoning. Rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, etc. It's from food poisoning. Are you all with me in the back there? Okay, because I don't want you to miss this, because I knew you took a lot of trouble to come here tonight. Food poisoning. Colon cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer are due to food poisoning, to rich foods, meat and oil and dairy and yogurt. Oh, I know I upset you. Food poisoning. Do you guys have Prilosec here for sale in India? Why do you think that's one of the most popular drugs in India, the US? Because of food poisoning. And finally, this is food poisoning. Your kids are sick. The people in India are sick from food poisoning. Okay, the way to cure food poisoning, and the reason that I came here and the kindness of your attendance is to tell you how to cure food poisoning. Dr. Shaw is going to continue and tell you much more. But the way you cure food poisoning is you stop the poison. Just like the way you cure a bad cough if you're a smoker is to, if you're a hardcore drunk and you're tired of falling down, what do? If you're tired of having food poisoning in yourself or your family, you must stop the food poisoning. Okay, so the results are really quick. As soon as you make this change, you know, the indigestion goes away, the constipation, immediately. The greasy skin clears up 24 hours. In 7 days, the average weight loss is 3.5 pounds, eating as much as you want. Diabetes goes away, the high blood pressure goes away. Most of my patients, as will happen to you, get off all their medication when they stop the food poisoning. 7 days. And in 4 months, most people who have food poisoning are completely cured, if they can be cured. I mean, there are residuals from that bad diet we ate. Just like people who smoke cigarettes. You know, they get emphysema and sometimes lung cancer, and drunks get cirrhosis. So there is some scar left, but when you stop this behavior, about 4 months it takes to get rid of these problems. Totally. So, well, what do you do? Well, this is a story that's been told. I'm sorry this is a biblical story, but you understand I come from a primarily Christian Jewish nation. You have similar stories in your religious teachings. This is a story of 2,500 years ago of Daniel, who compared his men who lived on starches and vegetables to the king's men. And they published this in a big book called the Bible. I bet if I went to your religious teachings, there would be similar stories. As I mentioned, strong people eat starch. The gladiators were known as the barley men. The gladiators of 1,800 years ago were known as the barley men because they lived on barley and beans. And why did they live on barley and beans? Because if you didn't get another chance to go to the Colosseum. You were killed because you didn't have the strength and endurance of your competitors if you lived on meat. And so it's been throughout history. The strong people, even today, the athletes, the winning runners, long-distance runners, they live on carbohydrates, right? Starch. Are you all with me? All right. So to stop food poisoning, this is food poisoning. I know this may seem radical to you. Unfortunately, I don't have the 10 days that I would have with you at the clinic to gingerly give you this message. I have to be frank. Just like if you were a drunk or suffering from problems from breathing from cigarette smoking, I'd have to give you the message really quickly. If you want to cure the obesity, the diabetes, the high blood pressure, the constipation, the things I showed you, then you must stop the food poisons. Food poison. This is not totally foreign to you folks, whether you be engineers or school teachers or doctors or dietitians. You've been told before that eating all of these animal foods will give you heart disease and other health problems, yes? But I'm trying to tell you very seriously, it's killing you, the people of Mumbai, the Indian population, and the entire world. Now, why does this happen? Thank you. There's the cat. He liked those pictures, you know, because that's his diet. So why has this happened in the United States, and why have we exported our illnesses to India? It's just business, folks. Don't take it personal. Nobody's trying to hurt you or your family. They're just doing business, and it's called the meat, dairy, poultry, fish, egg, oil, supplement, pharmaceutical, bypass surgery businesses. They're just doing business. Now, why do I know this? I did 2 medical conferences today for doctors. You know what? I saw some of your doctors. Some of them are obese. If they were intentionally trying to hurt you, they would keep this message to themselves and they would be healthy. You know, some of your doctors just look like American doctors too. They're just as fat and just sick as everybody else because they bought into the message of industry, just like the dairy farmers. The dairy farmers in India, they suffer from heart attacks. The wives have breast cancer, the men have prostate cancer, the children are constipated. They're sick too. So are those people who work in the egg industry in India. This is not a conspiracy. It's just doing business. And part of the business is to give you an industrial advertising message. The reason this has worked is because of marketing. It's called a selective, unique positioning. In other words, if I got to meet all of you, I'd find out you and your families were in various businesses. And in those businesses, what you do to maintain a good business is you advertise something unique about your product. Like, for example, the automobile industry in the United States. There's a big push on environmentally friendly, high gas, high mileage cars. So little cars, they tell you get a whole bunch of miles per gallon. But these little cars, as I know you drive around in India, you guys don't wear your safety belts, it's a whole other issue. But these little cars, they're also quite dangerous, but industry doesn't advertise that along with their fuel efficiency. Every industry advertises something unique about their product. And so the food industry advertises something unique about their products, to the point of even false advertising. For example, if I say protein, you say meat, eggs, sure. But you must know there is no such thing as protein deficiency. You've never seen it, your families have never had it, and it's never been described in the world literature. There's no such thing as a protein deficient diet outside of starvation. But everybody knows you must eat meat to get protein. It's called unique positioning. If I say calcium, you say milk. There's never been a case of calcium deficiency ever described in the world literature. Osteoporosis is due to protein excess. It's a whole other lecture. But everybody knows you must drink milk, eat yogurt to get calcium. It's just business. Okay, just one third last thing. If I say omega-3 fats, you say, well, no fish has ever made an omega-3 fat. Only plants can make omega-3 fats. Fish get it from the algae and seafood. But see, that's what industry does. They lie, just advertise. It's not personal, no conspiracy. They lie to the teachers, the doctors, the scientists, and the public. And I guess that would be okay if it was just a little lie. But it's killing you and your spouses and your children and your nation and the world. So I guess that's why I came to India, to kind of tell you there's another point of view. And we have truth and success on our side. They got all the money. All right. Worldwide, if you look worldwide, and including your own nation's history, you see that every large civilization has been fueled by starch. The Mayans and Aztecs were known as the people of the corn, right? Come on, you guys got this education. I learned it. The Asians, their civilization built on rice, right? India, what was your civilization built on? Wheat? Well, recently rice and beans. Dal, lentils, chapati, is that? That's what your ancestors all lived on. Yes, they did. South America, it was potatoes. I flew over Afghanistan 3 nights ago. That's always in the news, at least in our country. Iraq, Iran, Egypt. That's known as the breadbasket of the world. So my point being is the native diet of human beings, just like that cat, it's a carnivore. You are a starch eater. Everybody was until industry took over your dietary habits. Now, I want to make sure you follow me up to this point. What I'm trying to say, just in summary before I go on to show you what to do, is what I'm trying to say is that your nation, your family is being poisoned by rich foods. And I can't just tell you stop meat, stop dairy, stop eggs, because you'd say, there's nothing to eat, I will starve to death. But if I tell you that you are, your parents and grandparents were for thousands of years starch eaters, you go, ha, thank you, I love starch. But it's been demonized, falsely so, in all of your religion. all of your history. And if you are a science, all science says what I say is true. All I have is the truth and success. They got the money. All right, so we're all together now. So how do you fix food poisoning? This is what you eat in unlimited quantities, because your appetite is not incorrect. Your stomach was not designed inappropriately for your body. You eat these foods. I'm just going to show you a whole bunch of starch-based foods. Now, I realize that these are North American type foods. I'm sorry I didn't have time to culturalize it to India. But you can in your mind take and make the easy shift to dishes that are familiar to you. I can only show you what I know. After being here another 10 days, I may be able to change these slides with your help. But use your imagination a little bit and try and follow with me. You need to eat, you must eat. But you have to figure out what to eat to stay strong and healthy and beautiful. Right now you're being killed, you're being sickened, you're being made ugly, fat, greasy, from food poisoning. So this is what you do to fix it. Do you like these? Let me say, if you like my color picture book, it's on my website, already translated into 15 languages, free. Everything I'm showing you is on my website, free. You just go to drmcdougall.com. So tonight when you go home, just get on the internet. If you want to see this whole presentation again with the slides, just go to www.drmcdougall, which is drmcdougall.com. It's in Spanish, Greek, Hebrew. Maybe within a day or so it'll be in some of your Indian dialects. It's in Russian. It's just a color picture book so that I can show you what the problem is and how to fix it. It's just 66 pages. It will take you 10 minutes to look at it tonight if you want. So let me just keep going through it, and if you find this fascinating, worth your trouble, it's all there on my website, free. There are no gimmicks, as I started with the first slide. I'm just a doctor. Believe me, I have nothing to sell. So if you like the slides, let's just go on. You like mashed potatoes? I could live on mashed potatoes. And you could live on potatoes and water alone. All the protein, all the calcium. Potatoes are anti-scurvy food. People have lived on potatoes alone, like those in the Andes, in Russia and Poland 100 years ago, because that's all they had. Post-World War II in Germany, that's all they had. And so if you walk out here tonight and you say, I didn't quite get what he said, but I'm tired of being fat, I'm tired of being sick, I'll just live on potatoes and water. You heard me correctly. You can, very successfully. Millions, hundreds of millions of people have, out of necessity. The foods are complete. God did not make a mistake in his or her design. These are sweet potatoes. like I said, there used to be, it's changing fast, but you have to watch. It used to be 30 years ago or 20 years ago or even 10, you could go to Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, China, Japan, and you could stand in a town square of 100,000 people and there would be no fat people. I bet you could say that about India 30 years ago too, couldn't you? Not today, because of food poisoning. So brown rice is better, but white works if that's the way it has to be. You know, you could have some fruits. Fruits are okay, but you can't base your diet on fruits. Likewise, you know, having kale and broccoli and lettuce that are okay, but you can't live on those foods. You will starve to death. You must start center your diet. You all with me? Okay. You don't want to eat too much tofu and things like that. It's a little rich, but you can have some. And have you known any fat vegans? Fat vegans? Even fat, you know, fat vegetarians that don't eat dairy, and what do you think they eat? They put nuts in hard shells for a reason, ladies. Oh, coconut, that's a big one for India, right? How many coconuts could you open with your bare hands? But right now, coconut is a big, big food, coconut oil in India. It shows. Yeah, and a few other high-fat vegetable foods. You can eat some dried fruits if you need more calories, but you know they don't help you lose a lot of weight. And fruit juices, you don't improve the quality of a fruit or vegetable by beating it 1,000 times with a steel blade. It's better to eat the food whole, but it's okay. Spices, you guys, I know India is famous for spice. That's okay, that's fine. And so is a little salt, so is a little sugar. Particularly on the surface of the food, then you get maximum taste with minimal amount. You can use a little of that. You don't take supplements. They will kill you. These are dangerous pills. Oh, you thought I was here to sell you pills, right? No. You might take a little B12. You see, the reason supplements are dangerous is you take important nutrients that are in fruits and vegetables, and you strip them out of the fruit and vegetable, and you isolate them and concentrate them as beta-carotene, vitamin D, which used to come from the sun, and vitamin E, etc. And then you feed them back to people in isolated, concentrated amounts. They cause nutritional imbalance, and all major health organizations clearly tell you, not only do they not help you, but they will hurt you. Little B12 is okay. We don't need to get into that. You need a little sunshine. You are darker skinned people than the whiter people from my side of the world. You need sun. You need a little bit more because of your darker skin. That's natural. Your society's developed nearer the equator and sunshine. You do need sunshine. Myself, you know, being from Ireland, I'm very fair-skinned because it's natural. That's where my ancestors were from. You are darker in general. You need more sun than somebody like me. You need sunshine. You need to walk around a little bit. Exercise is not the solution to health problems. It's okay to exercise a little bit, carefully. Walk around, chase your 2-year-old. If you're an enthusiast in exercise, you run risks, like marathon runners. They fall in ruts and they get hit by cars, and damage your joints. I mean, that's fine if that's your thing, but it's not going to solve food poisoning. And then the last thing I just want to mention, and I think the reason I'm here in India, and then I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Shah, is this is more important than you and your diabetes and obesity or me. The things that I'm talking about have far-reaching effects on India, Mumbai, the world, your children, your grandchildren. Right now we have a problem of, that is paramount, that may result in planetary destruction. Just a side note. Global warming, you've heard of these things, right? Okay, over half the greenhouse gases are produced by the livestock industry. If you are hearing me, you can fix that tonight, at least your contribution. You can't fix heating and transportation and energy needs. It'll take decades. But if people understood that they could make a huge environmental impact just by changing to a starch-based diet, many of you would, just for that reason, just for ethical reasons, animal rights reasons, your kids, your grandkids. The major source of pollution in India and the world is the livestock industry. That's, I think, why I'm in India, to kind of spread this message. I got 6 grandkids. We can make a world for the children, I believe. And it's just stop food poisoning. Eat a starch-based diet. Thank you very much, Dr. Shaw. I'm going to turn it over to you.